Hi, Eric Gibaud, ericgibaud.com, and today I'm going to present you this by K&F Concept, a variable ND filter, but not just that, it's also a black diffusion. It means you have this mist aspect that many people are looking for when they want to have a cine look for pictures or for video. So let's start. I had already reviewed its brother, variable ND filter without mist effect, black diffusion, and also black diffusion filters by K&F Concept. I'll leave you links here, but the great idea of this is sometimes you want both. You need variable ND filter and also the mist effect. Okay, so in this case you have everything in one, which is fantastic because you just get one filter. You don't have to stack filters, and you don't have to buy two, so you have all in one. So we're going to see the pros, the cons, if it's worth it, and the results. So let's carry on. So here's the box, as always magnetic. Here, protection paper. By the way, they've changed their logo. So if you see the logo, you think, is it the same brand? Yes, it is the same brand. They just changed the logo not long ago. Okay. Here's the pouch with the filter in it. I'll speak about it right now. But this very interesting card here, because many people ask me what filter type they should get. And here they actually have a small explanation. They say fixed ND series, most reliable. Okay. Then they have variable ND filter, most flexible, we'll see that. Then you have ND plus CPL, which is the circular polarizer, most functional, which is probably true, okay. And then there's the square filter, which is the professional choice. So it gives you a bit on idea. So we'll see what's best or not. Maybe not comparing, but telling if this one has a variable ND is reliable or not. We're going to see that, okay. And here, what I really love about this small pouch is when you open, it's magnetic here, but you have this small piece of fabric, and when you pull on it, the filter comes out. And I think this is fantastic, okay? And here, you have the filter itself. So actually, variable ND filters, they're actually two polarizer that cross each other. So when you turn, as you can see, it will cut more or less light, okay? As you can see, okay. So here you have these two polarizer to make the ND filter that has from ND2 to ND32, which is 1 stop to 5 stops, okay. And then you have a specific treatment of special treatment of the glass to have the mist effect, the black diffusion. I don't know how to explain. It's like some small like if you put some dust on it, so it will create this diffusion aspect that when the source of light, the part that is in focus, that's no problem, but the rest will look like diffused. So not just when there is direct light. Sometimes, well, I will show you some example, but when the source of light, then it comes really diffused. It really gives this cine look. And on this one, they've added this small orange stuff compared to the standard and variable ND they have. So it's really practical to turn, because when you have wide angle lenses, sometimes if you turn like this, they could see your finger. This way it's a lot easier not to have your finger appear on the picture, okay. This is a 62mm diameter, but they have all kind of sizes, okay, so no problem. Rotation is really smooth. I really like it. It's not too soft, not too stiff, really nice. Because when you make picture, that's not really a problem, but when you make video, you need to have this really smooth, because you don't want to go like this, because otherwise maybe you move the camera, or it will probably appear on the video that exposure is changing like in a strange way, okay, or things happen. I'd say that it needs to be smooth, and this is really perfect, okay. The glass is Japanese glass called AGC. K&F, they always use German or Japanese glass, okay, really good. 28 layers of coating to have anti-reflection, anti-water, anti-scratches, anti-oil. So really great. If you get a drop of water that falls on it, it will slide out. So this is really fantastic. Great quality as always, okay. They say it is slim. It's true, it doesn't look slim, but I tell you it is. Take into account there are two pieces of glass here, okay. So actually variable ND filter, very often they're thicker than this. So this one, this is slim. I can say this is slim, okay. Big problem with variable ND filter is the cross effect. What is that? When you have the two polarizer that cross each other, and when it gets to the maximum cut of light, you have like a big shadows that cross completely the frame, and it's a cross effect, okay. Some have it, some don't have it. Here they said it doesn't have it, okay. So Let's see. So I made a picture at maximum 5 stops, okay? And as you can see, there is no cross effect. But sometimes the cross effect appears just before the maximum maximum cut, okay? So I made a video. Right now I'm showing you. As you can see, the exposure is changing in a strange way, because actually if I went to the maximum it would cut light, but you would not see much because it would be everything dark. So I was compensating the exposure at the same time. I don't remember if I touched aperture or speed, doesn't matter. It was just to show you that at no moment any cross appeared. So when they say that fixed ND filters are the most reliable and this one the most flexible, I can say this one is also reliable. From 1 to 5 stop, no problem, no cross effect. Many people think that variable ND filters are made to save money and have only one filter instead of several. So if it's good quality, yeah, you could, okay, no problem. But the origin of variable ND filter is not this. The idea is to be able to vary the light you're cutting at the same time as you're using it. It means in photography, of course, you can use it as several filters, but actually in video, this is where it makes a lot of sense to use variable ND filters, because if exposure is changing while I'm recording, I need to be able to change the light that goes through on the fly. Not just stop recording, change and stop recording all this on the fly, okay? So now I'm going to show you some example explaining. I'm going to do 3 demo right now. The first one is without any filter, to show you what happened with the camera when you do video, then with a variable ND filter, and then with the product I'm showing, which is variable ND filter plus black diffusion mist filter, okay? When you do video, you obviously want to expose properly, okay? So if I point at this, I don't move, I've got the right exposure, that's fine, no problem. But from the second I'm going to pan, if there's some area with different light, a lot more light or less light, then I get into trouble, because I don't want it to be overexposed, underexposed. So if I expose for shadows, when I'm going to point at light, it will be overexposed. And if I expose for light, when I point to a darker area, it will be underexposed, okay? So this is the problem. So if I want to have a steady exposure, then I will have to play with speed or aperture. If I play with aperture, that will change my depth of field. As long as I pan, depth of field will change, because I will be more or less open on the aperture, okay? And the other option is to play with speed, okay, with shutter speed, okay? But really, when you want to have a cine look, you want to have your shutter speed twice the amount of frame per second. If I record right now on 25 frames per second, I will have a shutter speed of 1/50th of a second, okay? Why? Because it gives a flow, it looks motion blur, which is really smooth, it looks really cine look, okay? If I play with the shutter speed, then if instead of 1/50th of a second, I'm on 1/200th of a second or more, then it will be like shaky, you know, it won't be as nice, not as smooth, okay? So this is why you cannot really play without any other accessories, because if you play the aperture with the aperture, it changes the depth of field. If you play with the shutter speed, it kills the motion blur. So I do a demo right now without any filter. Okay, I'm on f2.8, 1/50th of a second, and I'm going to pan towards the sun, okay? So right now I'm properly exposed, I pan right now, okay? Then I go towards light, okay? I'm going to zoom on the sun, and then I get really overexposed, okay? So I must sort this out. So what solution if I don't want to touch speed, shutter speed, if I don't want to touch aperture? One solution is to put an ND filter. But if I put a fixed ND filter, that will still be a problem, because it will have a fixed cut. So this means that, yeah, I will be probably properly exposed in an area, but still too much difference with the other area. So I need something to be variable. So I've got this ND variable, this variable ND filter, 2 to 32. I already presented it. I'll leave you the link here, okay? So this is from 1 stop to 5 stops, ND2 to ND32. So I'm going to place it. I'm going to show you you change actually the cut, moving the filter, turning the filter as you pan. So this way I all the time control my exposure, checking here that exposure is stable. Okay, so now I am on ND2, which is one stop. I'm going to move towards the sunny area, okay, and at the same time, so I'm on 1/3 maybe underexposed, okay, it doesn't matter, just for the demo purpose, okay. So I'm going to turn towards the highlights, okay. I check my exposure, and then when I see it getting really there, I just turn my ring here, so I get on ND32, 5 stops. As you can see, the dark area darker maybe, but I don't have this burnt area really overexposed where it's sunny. Okay, this is the way it works. So I'm going to show you now the black diffusion effect. It gives some kind of maybe more romantic, more cinematographic, I don't know how you call it. So let's see how it goes. So now let's go for the mist effect. As you can see, it's a lot more foggy, okay, more cine look. And I don't have to worry that it's mist or not. I'm just going to turn and use the ND filter, variable ND part of it, as if it was, okay, because it's both in one, okay. So I just turn, okay, and here I will fine tune depending on my exposure, okay, as you can see here, okay. But you see the aspect is a lot more diffused on highlights, okay. So I already presented a mist filter. It was just mist filter, but really the fact that you can do both in one is really practical, because as you can see, I don't have to worry about stacking filters, and that could create maybe some optical problems. I've got all in one, so I just turn, okay, and I play that easy, okay. Some people don't like the effect, some people love it. It depends on what you want to do, what kind of video, what kind of picture you want to do. It's a matter of personal taste, okay. Nothing is wrong or right. It depends on what you like or you don't like, okay. But the big question many people have is, couldn't I do that in post-production with my computer or some kind of plugin or software? Well, probably you can get close to that. You don't always get exactly the same thing, but don't forget two things. First, you're not sure it will be possible to get exactly what you want. So if you cannot, you will need to record again or make the picture again, okay? In this case, out of the box, you know if it's okay or not. This is why more and more people prefer to use physical filters, not just this one, any kind of filters, to see exactly when they make the picture or when they record the video, to see exactly the look it will have, okay. So this is the big benefit to have this, so straight out of the box, you know how it goes, okay. Take into account that also applying effects in post-production is really time consuming. You need some serious computer for that, okay. So the big question that many people ask is it okay also for photography, because most people speak about that for video. What's about photography? Yes, of course. This one has no problem with the optical, so no vignetting, no cross effect, so that's fine. So you could think that a simple black diffusion mist filter will be okay, but the fact is the fact that you have ND also is a big plus. Why? Let's say you want to have a low speed shutter speed photography and also a large aperture. You have too much light that comes in, okay. So on top of this special look effect, you need to cut light, okay. So having an ND filter in there is really handy, so you don't have to stack two filters, you get all in one. So yes, so I'll show you right now some sample of some flowers and plants I've made, a few pictures, so it give you an idea of this foggy look, romantic look, or however you want to call it, okay. So let's have a look. Very often people are not really aware, they don't calculate how much light does this cut, okay? Well, to give you an idea, if you make a video of 25 frames per second, you need a shutter speed of 1/50th of a second, okay? But actually in daytime, if you had like 1600th of a second, 5 stop will drop to this 1/50th of a second. If you had 1/800th of a second, 4 stop drops to 1/50th. Okay, if you had 1/400th of a second, 3 stops drops to 1/50th. If you had 1/200th, 2 stops drop to 1/50th, and 1/100th of a second, 1 stop drops to 1/50th. So you realize that it's really common to have a very high speed necessary at 1/1600th of a second. This is really usual in daytime. So with the 5 stop here, when you go to 5 stop, you would drop to the speed, shutter speed you need to record properly your video, to have this motion blur effect, this cine look. Okay, so really practical. So conclusion, well, honestly, I've been reviewing gear from K&F Concept for almost 2 years or something like this. Every month they send me 1 or 2 or 3 pieces of gear to review, have a look, use myself, play with it, do say whatever I want about it. And every time I think, yeah, this is probably the last one they send. I don't think they will come up with new ideas. They have everything now. They have tripod, bags, filters, everything. Well, I'm completely wrong. They still surprise me inventing new things. So combining this black diffusion with ND filter is great. It's fantastic. You actually save on space and money having everything in one. So I think this is another great idea by K&F Concept. So honestly, the build is great, the optical quality is fantastic. You see the result, I really love it. If you like this style of effect, obviously, but I do like it. I think this is a fantastic product. So if you're interested, I leave you links in the description of where you can buy it. Okay, so thank you so much K&F Concept for sending me this filter. Thank you very much to you for watching the video. If you feel it may interest other people, please share it on social networks. If you have not done it yet, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. A small button down here is a small bell. If you click on the bell, get notified when I upload a new video. My website, ericgibaud.com. If you have any question, can leave a comment below. Also leave your links of more gear on Amazon, links of everything I reviewed by K&F Concept and Sandmark, and also a link to my PayPal account in case you wanted to make a donation. And by the way, now on YouTube, under each video, the small heart with the small $sign, and if you click there, you can make a donation if you want on any video. So no obligation. I thank you anyway for watching the video. Please take care of yourself and see you soon. Bye.